Rick Brant looked up from the book he was reading and grinned at the young man across the table. "You look worried, Scotty." Don Scott was staring through the window at the silvery blue ocean 10,000 feet below. "Not worried, just thoughtful. Here we are riding in style a couple of miles above the Pacific. In 3 weeks we'll be playing tag with the fish 100 fathoms under it. Trouble with us is we can't decide whether we want to be birds or porpoises." Rick put down his book and stretched luxuriously. He was a tall, husky boy of college age, with brown hair and eyes. "No bird ever rode in such comfort," he said, glancing around at the lounge of the Pan American Clipper. "Not much like the Cub, is it?" He'd been gone from home only 4 days, but he already missed the yellow Piper Cub that was his special pride and joy. He missed Spindrift Island, too. To the rest of the world, the famous island off the New Jersey coast was the headquarters of the Spindrift scientists, led by Hartson W. Brant, Rick's father. The island was known as the place where new radar discoveries had been developed, and as the launching site for the first moon rocket. The very name of Spindrift was synonymous with revolutionary discoveries in the field of electronics. But to Rick, it was simply home. He always hated to leave, even to take part in an exciting scientific expedition like the present one, and he was always glad to return. "I'm a little homesick," he confessed. Scotty grinned. "Think you're the only one?" He motioned to the 2 travelers on the opposite side of the lounge. "Take a look at those 2. Rick looked over to where his father and Chada were seated on a comfortable sofa. Hartson Brant was holding a book, but he wasn't reading. He was staring out the window, lost in thought. "I'll bet no one aboard realizes who he is," Scotty said. Rick nodded. His father was known internationally as an outstanding electronic scientist, but it would be hard for a stranger to connect the name of Hartson Brant with the youthful-looking man in the casual slacks and sports jacket. Mr. Brant had his son's lean hardness and unassuming friendliness. More than once he'd been mistaken for Rick's older brother. He was an able athlete and an ardent fisherman and swimmer. There was nothing about him to indicate he was a scientist. "He's probably thinking about Mom's cooking," Rick said. "Stop it," Scotty complained. "You're making me hungry. What do you think Chada's thinking about?" Seated next to Hartson Brant was a slim brown boy who had a mischievous look about him, even when completely relaxed. Chada, whom Scotty called a souvenir of the Tibet trip, was a former Bombay beggar boy who had become a member of the Spindrift family by virtue of his courage and loyalty when the scientists sent an expedition to Tibet to set up a radar moon relay station. The quick-witted Hindu boy had done much to extricate the expedition from serious danger. "Well, he's probably dreaming about statistics from the World Almanac," Rick guessed. He knew that was a safe assumption because Chada had been studying a new edition of the almanac that Rick had given him. In Bombay, the Hindu boy had tried to educate himself by memorizing most of an old copy of the World Almanac. It was the only textbook he had ever had. Chada turned suddenly and saw Rick and Scotty watching him. He rose and came across the lounge. "Do you know what? I am doing some arithmetic." "With some dope from the almanac?" Rick asked. Chada looked surprised. "How did you know?" Rick and Scotty laughed. "Rick's a mind reader," Scotty said. "What are you figuring on this time?" Chada sat down at the table with them. "We get to Honolulu in an hour, yes? Well, Honolulu is 4,500 miles from Spindrift Island." "Which means we've traveled over halfway," Rick added, "because Kwangara is 3,000 miles from Honolulu." Chada shook his head. "Is Rick a scientist? No. He is being most careless with numbers. Kwangara is 3,000 miles, yes, but that is ocean miles. That is what I'm figuring." Rick thought for a moment, then he grinned. "You're right. I forgot about the difference between nautical miles and statute miles." He had measured the distance from Spindrift to Kwangara Island, a tiny dot in the Pacific between the Palau Islands and the southern Philippines, and had gotten 7,500 miles. "It says in the almanac," Chada stated, "to change to land miles from ocean miles, you must multiply by 1.15157. Scotty shook his head. "This Heathen character always amazes me. How can you remember those numbers, Chada?" Chada's quick grin flashed. "Because I have a strong mind. Scotty is quite the opposite."